Hello, Rockwood South families. We have reached the end of the first quarter of school already. It is hard to believe. And since it's a Friday, it is time for another blast. All right, families, we're going to jump straight into our learning focus. And this week, our staff completed what we call learning walks here at Rockwood South. This is where we have about a dozen teachers across the building who are willing to serve as host classrooms for all of the other staff members to come in to observe together. And what they're looking for is either student centered learning practices, such as cooperative learning practices, and opportunities for students to reflect, especially based on specific criteria. Around here, we call that assessment capable learning strategies. And so in this picture, you can see we've got Mr. Ruckman, you've got Miss Brinkley, you've got Mr. Walk. They're actually in Miss Harper's art class talking with students about what they're learning and watching students reflect on one another's art projects to provide feedback. This is something that we are in year 2 of doing here at Rockwood South. We then give feedback to those host classrooms, and our teachers after school engage in teams to talk through those strategies and how they might apply them within their own classrooms. It's really, really cool to be a part of that, and excited that our staff wanted to do that again this school year. Now let's move into some of the things that we saw during those learning walks and throughout the week. This is a shot from Miss Mueller's class where absolutely reflection and learning was taking place. She provided her students with a scoring guide. They scored sample pieces of work with each criterion level and then had opportunities to speak with partners about whether their scoring was correct and what they would do to improve the work that was provided by Miss Mueller, those samples. Here's another shot of that in action for you. You can see the scoring guides in front of the students. That provides really clear criteria for each criterion and really what that skill looks like on a continuum. And then students were able to once again talk about how would we improve this piece of writing based on this criteria. It was really involved a ton of critical thinking. Now let's jump to one of our art classrooms. This is Mr. Baker's art class. And I will tell you that both Mr. Baker and Miss Harper had assessment capable learning and reflection happening in their classrooms. You can see kids are doing many presentations. Every student had a specific role on their team. And the students were, once again, using very specific criteria to give one another feedback. The students shared with me that after they received that feedback from their team, they could then use the feedback to improve their project before turning it in. Now let's jump into some student-centered learning, cooperative learning at its best, happening here in Miss Brinkley's math class, where students were engaged in chat stations. After students responded to the given prompts that were all around her classroom, they were then able to do some discussion about how they arrived at each of the answers, and they were able to support each other. I also saw chat stations happening in Miss Miller's Spanish classroom in a very similar fashion. And then finally, I want to jump to Miss Mothersbaugh's science class, where she had cooperative learning taking place in the form of station work in her class. Whew, we had a lot of action around our school goals this week related to instructional practice with student-focused or student-centered instructional practices and student reflection and learning through assessment-capable learning strategies. Oh my goodness, we had quite the week. So, families, since it is October 17th and the end of the quarter, that means teachers will be working over the next week to update all grades. They will also be putting what we call AMBs, academic mindsets and behaviors, into the system. Those should be all ready for you by October 24th. So over the next week, get ready to start checking those grades and your students' progress. In addition, we have conferences next week, and Monday, October 20th, by the end of the day, that is your last opportunity to sign up for parent-teacher conferences. It's a great time to come in and check in with teachers about your students' progress and goals that your student may have for continued growth into that second quarter of the school year. And with that, it sounds like we've got some cooler temps coming in, so I hope you enjoy the fall weather. We look forward to seeing our kids back here on Monday. Take care.